picture this scenario. You've just walked onto the gym floor, right? You've got your pre-workout kicking in.
Oh, yeah, ready to go.
Exactly. You have your whole complex lifting routine pulled up on your phone, and you head straight over to the squat rack.
Right, getting right to it.
But then comes the moment of truth.
Yeah.
Like, what do you actually do with that $1,000 piece of supercomputer glass in your hand?
It's the ultimate gym anxiety, honestly.
It really is. So you end up playing this, like, incredibly precarious game of gym floor Jenga.
Yes, the balancing act.
You try to prop the phone against your water bottle, or worse, you just leave it flat on the rubber floor, completely
Yeah.
exposed.
Oh, man, just asking for someone to step on it.
Right. You just stand there doing your sets, knowing your lifeline to the digital world is exactly one dropped dumbbell or, one clumsy footstep away from total disaster.
I mean, it is a profound, almost universal source of anxiety for the modern gym goer. We have all been in that exact position.
Literally everyone.
Trying to perfectly prop up a phone on a foam roller just so we can see our rest timer, and then it just slowly slides down right in the middle of a heavy set.
It's so distracting.
Completely. It pulls your focus totally away from the physical exertion. It puts it all on the safety of your device.
Well, today's deep dive is looking at a surprisingly sophisticated fix to this specific everyday problem. We're digging into this fascinating piece of source material by Blawback.
Yeah, the article on magnetic phone holder solutions.
That's the one, magnetic phone holder solutions for the gym. So our mission today is to really explore how magnetic technology is stepping in to save our screens and, frankly, our sanity.
Much needed sanity.
For real.
Right.
We're going to break down the exact engineering specs you need to look for, the pitfalls of cheaping out, and compare the best solutions on the market. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
The fundamental appeal here is that these mounts basically act like a built-in, completely hands-free tripod for your phone. You can check your workout apps, scrub through a podcast, or record your squat form without having to awkwardly tap a stranger on the shoulder to film you.
Which nobody wants to do.
Yeah.
And pulling back to look at the larger cultural context here, this really highlights a major behavioral shift in how we exercise.
How so?
Well, going to the gym is no longer this isolated analog activity where you just lift heavy things and leave.
Right.
We're actively consuming and creating massive amounts of data while we're in that environment.
Oh, absolutely. Tracking progressive overload on specialized apps.
Yeah.
Analyzing biomechanics.
Checking form on video, yeah. And so many people are filming content now. Your phone has essentially become as essential to the workout as the weights themselves.
It's just a piece of gym equipment at this point.
Exactly. And there was this Reddit user quoted in the source material who perfectly summarized the ideal solution for this.
What do they say?
They noted that a good magnetic mount, quote, sticks phone to metal, works as a stand, works as a grip, then detaches completely when you don't need it.
That is the ultimate holy grail.
It really is. No gluing things permanently to your case. Just pure temporary utility that adapts to your environment.
I mean, it sounds like an elegant solution when you frame it that way, but moving from the why to the how requires a pretty serious reality check.
Oh, definitely.
Because the source points out that heavy lifters are very explicit in their warnings about this stuff. They say, point blank, adhesive mounts suck.
Yeah, they do not hold back.
And they mentioned that using cheap, weak magnets can actually cause the exact disaster we're trying to avoid, like your phone just plummets to the floor.
Which is the nightmare scenario.
So I have to push back here with a practical concern. Let's say you're doing high-intensity interval training.
Okay.
Or you're doing really heavy barbell movements where the weight is violently slamming back onto the rack. Won't a magnetic attachment just vibrate right off the machine?
That is honestly the single most critical concern. And it is exactly why the physical anatomy of a secure hold matters so much.
Okay, so what makes it secure?
Well, we aren't talking about the flimsy, flexible magnets you use to stick a pizza menu to your fridge.
Right.
Addressing that vibration issue comes down to industrial strength materials. Specifically, when you're looking at these mounts, the gold standard specification you need to look for is an N52 grade magnet.
See, I see N52 thrown around in tech specs a lot.
Yeah.
But what does that actually mean in a mechanical sense?
To understand why it matters, we kind of have to look at the chemistry.
You're getting into the science. I like it.
Just a bit. So, standard fridge magnets are usually made from ferrite or ceramic materials, basically iron oxide.
Okay.
They are cheap to produce, but their magnetic field is incredibly weak. N52 magnets are completely different. They're rare earth magnets.
Made from what exactly?
They're an alloy of neodymium, iron, and boron. That specific combination creates a crystalline structure that drastically increases the material's magnetic pull.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it gives it an insanely high resistance to being demagnetized. The 52 in N52 actually refers to the maximum energy product of the material.
So it's basically a power rating.
Exactly. Right now in commercial manufacturing, 52 is essentially the theoretical limit of strength for a permanent magnet.
Wait, really? So you're basically attaching your phone with the absolute strongest permanent magnet that physics will allow consumers to buy.
That's exactly what you're doing.
That's wild. And I was reading the specs for some of these high-quality mounts, and they don't just use one giant magnet, right?
Right, they use an array.
Yeah, the source notes one mount that boasts 6 separate N52 magnets housed just in its base.
Which is so important because multiple points of contact are crucial. That kind of magnetic array is engineered specifically to handle those intense, rattling vibrations.
It's like a heavy deadlift or slamming a cable machine.
Exactly. It distributes the holding force over a wider surface area, ensuring the phone stays locked to the metal without sliding down a single inch.
Now that brings up a fascinating mechanical concept that I hadn't even considered until looking at this research.
What's that?
Well, magnetism alone isn't actually what stops the phone from sliding down the pole, is it?
Ah, right.
Because magnetism is a horizontal force in this scenario. It just pulls the phone inward against the steel upright.
Correct.
But the base of the magnet, like the part actually making contact with the gym equipment, almost always features a layer of rubber or silicone.
Yes, the friction layer.
Exactly. That rubber is what provides the vertical friction to stop gravity from pulling it downward. It's like this partnership. Magnetism pulls it in, friction holds it up.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it. That friction plus magnetism synergy is the secret to a secure hold.
It makes so much sense when you think about it.
And that rubberized base serves another incredibly vital purpose too, surface protection.
Oh, right. Because gym equipment is expensive.
Extremely. If you had raw neodymium scraping against a squat rack, gym owners would lose their minds. The rubber completely prevents scratching that expensive powder-coated paint.
Which you find on almost all commercial gym racks.
Is-
Okay, so once you have it securely stuck there, the orientation becomes the next hurdle, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to have to crane my neck awkwardly just to read a text message between sets.
Which leads us directly to adjustability. A premium mount needs to incorporate a 360-degree swivel, or like a highly tensioned ball joint mechanism.
So you can tweak the angle.
Exactly. You need to seamlessly rotate the phone from portrait mode for scrolling an app to landscape mode for watching a video.
Or tilt the lens down to record your form.
Right. And furthermore, you have to ensure the mount doesn't interfere with your phone's internal hardware.
Like charging.
Yes. You have to verify the solution doesn't block MagSafe or Qi wireless charging on your device.
Oh, that would be an absolute deal breaker for a lot of people.
Having to peel off a stubborn metal sticker every single evening just to put your phone on your bedside charger?
That completely defeats the whole purpose of a convenience accessory.
It really does.
Now, what about the gym equipment itself? Because, not all machines are created equal.
That is so true, and the physics of placement is where a lot of users make mistakes.
Really? How so?
Well, the source shared a very practical, real-world tip that sounds obvious, but it is easily forgotten. Magnets stick to steel. They do not stick to aluminum.
Right.
While the vast majority of heavy gym equipment is structural steel, you really do need to be aware of the alloy you're trying to attach to.
Good to know.
And beyond the metal type, the geometry of the surface matters immensely.
Like flat versus round bars.
Exactly. Flat surfaces or right angles, like the square, boxy uprights on a standard power rack,
Right.
those will always provide a significantly stronger hold than curved cylindrical tubing.
Because of the surface area.
Yes. A flat surface maximizes the contact area for those N52 magnets. If you attach a flat base to a round pole, you only get this tiny sliver of physical contact.
Which means a way weaker hold. Okay, so the baseline formula is clear.
Yeah.
N52 neodymium magnets, a high-friction rubberized base, a 360-degree swivel, and aiming for flat steel surfaces.
That is the winning combination.
So now that we understand the underlying mechanics, we can evaluate how different products actually apply this formula.
Right. Let's look at the options.
The source lays out this spectrum of solutions, moving from the most minimalist designs all the way up to heavy-duty, maximum security hardware. Let's start with the minimalist side.
The really sleek stuff.
Yeah, things like MagSafe grips and rings from brands like Anker and OSnap.
These are tailored for the user who wants the absolute lowest profile addition to their phone.
They don't want a bulky accessory cluttering up their pockets, right?
Exactly.
They're incredibly slim, like coin-sized attachments that just snap directly to the back of the phone using the built-in MagSafe magnetic ring on newer iPhones,
And they often double as a little finger loop or a kickstand for your desk.
which is super handy. The Anker Mago 610, for example, is remarkably tiny, but the specs show it can hold about 800 grams of weight, which is up to 28 ounces.
That's a lot for something so small.
Right. Considering a heavy smartphone is only around 7 or 8 ounces, that's more than enough magnetic overhead to safely stick your phone to a rack during a light workout.
And the primary advantage there is convenience. It is entirely removable.
Pop it right off.
Exactly. It keeps your phone perfectly slim and aesthetic during the rest of your day, at the office or whatever, and then functions as a mount for that 1 hour you were at the gym.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The source points out a historical physical flaw with older versions of some of these grips.
Oh, the adhesive issue.
Yes. Older OSNAP models didn't use MagSafe magnets. Instead, they relied on a strong, adhesive backing to stick a metal pad permanently to your phone case.
And users reported that over time, the mount would just fall off,
Exactly. But it wasn't because the glue was cheap. It was actually because of thermal dynamics.
which makes perfect sense when you think about it.
Right. Think about what your phone is doing in a gym. It's running a high-drain stopwatch app, streaming high-bitrate audio to Bluetooth headphones, and its cellular antenna is screaming at maximum power, just trying to pierce through the thick steel walls of a warehouse gym to find a signal.
The device is essentially acting as a miniature space heater.
Exactly that. The phone's own internal processor generates serious thermal load right against the back glass.
And that sustained heat slowly softens and melts the adhesive.
It's crazy. People would go to pull their phone away from the squat rack after a hard workout, and the melted adhesive would fail. It would leave the grip permanently stuck to the gym equipment.
And the user is left holding just their naked phone.
It's like having a flaky gym buddy. Like, they promise to spa you, but the second the heavy lifting actually starts and things heat up, they just completely bail and leave you hanging.
That is a perfect analogy, a catastrophic failure of the mechanical link.
Thankfully, the newer iterations have abandoned adhesives entirely, right?
Yes, they rely purely on the magnetic MagSafe ecosystem now. However, even the new magnetic rings are best suited for perfectly flat surfaces and lighter activity.
So, not for the hardcore lifters.
No. If you're a powerlifter violently shaking a squat rack, a little pop socket replacement just isn't going to cut it.
You need something stronger.
You have to bridge the gap between pocket-sized aesthetics and industrial strength. Which brings us to dedicated magnetic gym mounts.
This is where we see the purpose-built solutions enter the picture. A prime example highlighted in the text is the Blaubeck magnetic gym phone holder.
Which retails for around $20. Right?
Yeah, super affordable. And I looked at the specific engineering of this mount, and it's fascinating. It features 17 MagSafe-aligned N52 magnets solely for gripping the phone side,
Wow.
and then an additional 6 rear magnets dedicated exclusively to holding onto the gym equipment. At first, 17 magnets sounded like complete overkill to me.
It sounds excessive until you consider the stakes, honestly. It's the engineering principle of incorporating a massive safety factor. You don't build a suspension bridge to hold exactly the expected weight of rush hour traffic.
You build it to hold way more.
You build it to hold 10 times that amount. When you realize you're trusting this small accessory with a device holding your credit cards, private data, and a $1,000 camera.
Yeah, that redundancy makes total sense.
Absolutely.
And it maintains a very clean profile because it doesn't require a plastic cradle. But the feature that really caught my eye is that it includes an adhesive metal ring in the box.
For the non-iPhone users?
Yes. This means Android users, who traditionally get entirely left out of Apple's MagSafe ecosystem, can stick this thin ring to their case and utilize this exact same magnetic strength.
It democratizes the technology. It's brilliant.
It really is.
But let's push the scenario to the extreme. What if you're engaging in some truly insane, high-impact workout?
Like what?
Say you're doing explosive sled pushes or heavy rack pulls where the whole metal structure is just violently shuddering.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of force.
The source explores an alternative mechanical approach for that specific user, the clamp mount.
Right. Brands like A2C or Torque Fitness, they build mounts that utilize a strong magnetic base to stick to the gym rack, but instead of using magnets to hold the phone itself,
They secure the device inside a spring-loaded, rubberized clamp cradle.
It's a fundamentally different philosophy of security, isn't it?
It really is. If magnets are like relying on the invisible passive force of gravity to hold you in a roller coaster seat through a loop-de-loop.
Okay, terrifying, but go on.
The clamp is the physical, mechanical, over-the-shoulder harness ratcheting down over your chest. One is an invisible field, the other is a physical lock.
I love that analogy. You're basically trading elegance for absolute, undeniable security.
Exactly.
The obvious downside is that a clamp adds a significant amount of bulk to your gym bag.
Right, it's not pocket-friendly.
And you have the extra annoying step of physically prying open the spring-loaded arms every single time you want to check a text or change a song.
That friction can be annoying.
But the upside is total peace of mind. Whether you have a massive, heavy Android phablet or a tiny iPhone, that mechanical clamp is not letting go.
It all comes down to where you are willing to accept friction in your routine.
Very true.
Which actually provides a perfect pivot to the next category of solutions. What if you don't want to carry around a separate accessory at all?
Right.
What if the idea of remembering to pack a magnetic puck in your gym bag every single morning just sounds tedious?
Here's where it gets really interesting. This brings us into the territory of heavy-duty magnetic phone cases.
The built-in solutions.
Exactly. This is for the person who wants the solution built right into the gear they already carry, 247. We're looking at specialized cases from brands like Magback, which run about $50 to $60, and Rockform, which sit around $60 to $70.
The industrial design of these cases is quite impressive, honestly.
They really are rugged.
They embed heavy-duty industrial-strength magnets directly into the polycarbonate shell of the case itself.
Just baked right in.
Right. Rockform even incorporates a proprietary mechanical twist-locked system into their design.
Oh, nice.
There was a Redditor quoted in the article who is absolutely raving about it, claiming it had the strongest magnet of all and that it reliably sticks to literally every piece of equipment in their gym.
So you just walk up to a cable machine, slap your phone directly onto the metal, and get to work.
Exactly.
It sounds incredibly seamless, but there is a massive psychological and practical trade-off for the user here.
Oh, definitely. The lock-in effect.
Yes, you achieve this amazing, always gym-ready superpower, but in exchange, you're completely locked into a very specific phone case ecosystem.
The lock-in effect is real. You can't just buy that slim, aesthetic leather case you saw online for the office because you need the tactical magnetic case for your workout.
And let's be honest, nobody is going to physically swap their phone case back and forth every single day before they go to the gym.
No one has time for that.
The friction of doing that defeats the entire purpose. So you are committing to carrying a slightly heavier, distinctly more rugged-looking case everywhere you go, from the boardroom to the squat rack.
For hardcore gym goers, that trade-off is often entirely worth it for the sheer daily utility.
Oh, for sure.
But for those who refuse to change their phone case, there is a fascinating anti-case approach that seems to be gaining serious traction.
Oh, the pouches.
Yes. If you don't want to change your case and you don't even want to mount your phone out in the open air, you can use something like Blowbeck's magnetic water bottle sleeve bag.
It is exactly what it sounds like.
Literally. It's a neoprene or nylon pouch that hugs your water bottle. It features zippered pockets for your phone, keys, gym card.
And the whole bag just slaps right onto the side of the squat rack.
Yeah.
Using, you guessed it, magnets.
But this solution really forces you to evaluate your personal gym goals.
How do you mean?
Well, do you actually need to actively interact with your screen mid-workout, or do you just want to get your expensive gear safely elevated off the dirty floor?
That's a great point.
Because if you need to constantly watch a form video, or you're logging your rest periods on a digital stopwatch, a zippered pouch is going to hide your screen.
Right, you have to unzip it every time.
It introduces a physical barrier between you and your data.
But if your goal is purely protective storage, like if you just want your phone, your car keys, and your wireless earbuds safely elevated out of the danger zone so nobody steps on them,
then the pouch is perfect.
then it's an elegant all-in-one winner. You don't have to carry your phone in your sweatpants pocket, which is incredibly uncomfortable during a heavy deadlift anyway.
It acts as a mobile locker that travels with you from machine to machine.
A mobile locker, exactly.
It's a highly practical solution for the user who wants to disconnect slightly and focus purely on the physical movement.
So what does this all mean? We've covered an immense amount of ground today, from the subatomic structure of N52 neodymium magnets.
And the thermal dynamics of melting adhesives.
Yes. all the way to the debate between minimalist MagSafe rings and heavy-duty mechanical clamp cradles.
I think the most resonant way to synthesize this deep dive is to look at the author's own journey, detailed at the end of the source material.
Yeah, that was a great story.
They describe starting out with a cheap, generic, adhesive metal plate, and they lived through the exact nightmare we discussed.
The sliding phone of doom.
Literally watching in horror as their expensive phone slowly slid down a cable machine and crashed to the floor during a heavy set.
It hurts just thinking about it.
That visceral moment of panic is what finally drove them to research and upgrade to a universal, purpose-built magnetic mount, specifically landing on the Blaubeck model.
And what was their ultimate takeaway from all that?
Their ultimate takeaway for anyone trying to solve this modern problem is that you have to prioritize three distinct pillars: strength, reliability, and compatibility.
Strength to actually hold the sheer weight of a modern smartphone.
Right.
Reliability to handle the intense vibrations of heavy gym equipment.
Hmm.
And compatibility so the ecosystem works whether you're Team iPhone or Team Android.
Exactly. When you lock down those three pillars, you achieve the ultimate goal, which is peace of mind.
Just knowing your phone isn't going to get crushed by a dropped 45-pound plate.
Exactly. It allows you to actually focus on your mind-muscle connection and the workout itself.
It is entirely about removing mental and physical friction from your routine so you can perform at your best.
Absolutely.
Speaking of removing friction, the source material mentions how this kind of magnetic technology, specifically the MagSafe standard, is just becoming more and more ubiquitous in our daily lives.
And everywhere now.
It really is.
Yes.
And analyzing that trend leaves me with this final thought for you to ponder.
Okay, let's hear it.
As these incredibly strong, integrated magnetic ecosystems become the absolute standard way we interact with gym equipment, how long until the design of the gym equipment itself radically changes?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Right. Think about the cardio machines at your local gym. Will we soon see a near future where manufacturers like Precor or Life Fitness completely stop bothering to build those expensive, clunky, rapidly aging LCD screens into their treadmills and ellipticals?
Because they cost a fortune to replace when they break.
And the software is always outdated anyway. So what if instead gym manufacturers just start building perfectly flat, stylized steel magnetic landing zones right at eye level on every machine?
Oh, wow.
Your phone seamlessly snaps onto the metal, connects via Bluetooth, and instantly becomes the brain, the display, and the personalized interface for every single machine you touch.
That would change everything.
Your custom workout data, your streaming services, your perfectly calibrated screen, intimately integrated into the gym's hardware, just waiting for you to snap it on and hit play.